Haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001. Tonight, Joel Embiid will try to lead them there, but it will take a win in Toronto. Kawhi Leonard averaging 34 in the series, and Toronto allowing the fewest points per game in the playoffs. And outside Scotiabank Arena in Jurassic Park, the Raptor faithful have gathered in hopes of celebrating a second trip in 4 years to the Eastern Conference Finals. It all comes down to Game 7. Game 7, Sixers and Raptors, coming up at the top of the hour, called by Kevin Harlan, Greg Anthony, and Roz Gold on Woody. While here inside Studio J, TNT NBA tip-off presented by Auto Trader. Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Kenny, and Charles. Love these Game 7s.
I hope ours is good as the one we saw earlier today.
Yeah, which we'll have highlights of later. And Mother's Day. And it's a special day, and look, I know for two guys on this set, it's all memories. And thinking about you guys all day today. But when you go through a day like this, where I celebrated with my mom, who's 90 last night. And wow. Yeah, Lois is 90. My wife Cheryl, the mother of our children. My daughter Maggie is a mom. My daughter-in-law Quinn is a mom. My sister Dawn is a mom. Happy Mother's Day to all of them. And I know you saw Lucille, Miss Lucille.
And I want to say thank you to Charles, because Charles treats my mother like he treated his mother. I came home with a big bouquet of flowers, and I get in the damn house, and Charles had already sent them.
Yes, and Cheryl Ann texted you and said thank you, too.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yeah. No doubt.
Damn, he beat me again.
He beat me. Yeah, great day, man. Great day for all the mothers, and the memories that we have, they last forever. And, everything that embedded inside of me, I'm sure Charles would continue it, is that will, that sacrifice, that fight, that unconditional love. That's where I learned it from.
No doubt.
My appreciation for a higher being, all through my mom. And
I also think about your dad on a day like this.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. You got great parents.
Yeah, no doubt. And what better way to spend Mother's Day than watching NBA hoop? In 2001. The Milwaukee Bucks advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals and waited to see who they would face. The Raptors and Sixers needed to play Game 7. Sixers won by a point. 18 years later, same scenario. The Bucks are in, and the Sixers and Raptors will square off in a decisive 7th game. But unlike 2001, this one will be in Toronto, where the Raptors have taken 4 out of 5 from the Sixers this season, 2 out of 3 in the series, and have held Philly to just under 93 points a game in that gym. For more on Game 7, we head to Toronto. Roz Gold on Wood standing by. RGO, what you got?
Well, this series, we are seeing the maturation of Joel Embiid. Tonight's his first ever Game 7, and he told me he's really excited. He feels that his responsibility, he said, is to do everything on offense and defense. He says, if I bring it, my team will follow. He's grown a lot in this series. That Game 4 and 5, he said he felt like he let everybody down, especially after Game 3, where he was doing this and all of this. He was like, I felt after Game 3 like I figured out their entire defense. And then for Game 4 and 5 to not bring energy, it hurt him. And of course, speaking of hurt, he was dealing with his knee, his stomach, upper respiratory illness, and he responded in Game 6. But yesterday, I sat down with him and we discussed the conversation that all of you guys had in studio, that a star player should not be complaining so much about weakness or sickness because it draws the energy out of the room. And here's what Joel had to say.
It's a lose-and-lose situation. I mean, if I'm so bad that I decide not to play, and I'm sure they're all calling me. Everybody's calling me all type of names, soft. Can't really worry about it. That's why they're on TV. I have a lot of respect for them, especially Shaq and Charles. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about sometimes. He just be saying whatever he wants to. But I have a lot of respect for them, man. It's fine. That's their opinion. That's why they're on TV. you know, everybody has opinions, and I can't really worry about it. And I just got to focus on my team and winning the series.
Charles, he poked some fun at you, but overall he said he has a lot of respect for all of you, especially you, Shaq. Guys, what's your reaction to all that he had to say and what you feel he needs to be tonight in Game 7?
All right, Roz, thank you very much. Shaq, we'll start with you. And so you're Joel Embiid and you're on the road and it's Game 7. What's your mindset?
Well, the youngsters need to understand that when we criticize them, we're actually giving them the answers to the tests. See, some of these guys are so sensitive, they don't really hear what we're saying. I learned not to complain because my father's a military man. You ever heard of Walter Reed Hospital?
Yeah.
So I go to Walter Reed Hospital. He used to take me there every year, and I see amputees and these guys. These guys wanted to go back to war. And on the way back, he said, son, you should never complain. You make a lot of money, you do a lot of things, you should never complain. And as I go back to when I was younger watching all the other players, I never seen the other greats complain. You never heard Michael Jordan say, oh, I have the flu. I'm like, he just came out and he performed. He got 45 points. So what we're saying is, you're a young guy, you make a lot of money, play, represent. You don't have to complain about aches and bruises. Charles has said this many times. We all have aches and bruises. But the great Kenny Smith has said, this is where you make your fame. So, if you lose, nobody's going to say you lost because you had the flu or you had upper respiratory. They're going to say you lost because you didn't play well. So don't
Maybe
complain.
that close to game time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, right before the game. Kick off at less than a half an hour. Yeah. He's eating. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find. I've always said he's a hell of a player. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be one of the greatest ever. If he can stay healthy, the verdict's still out on that. But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when I bragged about him and Ben Simmons a few years ago, saying they're going to be the future of the NBA, he didn't call me and say, hey, Charles, thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Happy Mother's Day to you. So, Toronto wins this game if, Kenny?
They control the pace. As much as Joel Embiid has been the focal point of what's going on between all the things that Raj just said, the most important thing is, to me, is Ben Simmons. When he is playing at a pace that makes Jimmy Butler and J.J. Redick comfortable and Tobias Harris, they've won. When he's been slowed down and they play half court, their entire team has suffered. And we just saw a game where Damian Lillard didn't score well, but he controlled the pace of the game, he got others involved, and he let C.J. McCollum become an offensive juggernaut. Because the pace of the game, he still was able to get guys into it. And if Ben Simmons doesn't do that, and Kawhi Leonard slows him down, it will be curtains for the Philadelphia 76ers.
One of the things that we talked about before the series started was looking back at the regular season and Ben Simmons, the trouble he had when Kawhi Leonard checked him and he had like 8 turnovers per game. There have been 3 games in this series when Leonard's been on him for at least 25 possessions in a game and Simmons has not turned the ball over in those games. How about rebounding? Because Kyle Lowry says it, Marc Gasol says it, Nick Nurse says it. He says you cannot let Philly continue to dominate the boards. That's going to be the key to the game. What do you say?
Yeah, I do think it's going to be the key to the game. But, to add on what Kenny is saying about Philly, when you're on the road, you as the 2 main players, you have to make the others feel comfortable. If you just come out and play your game, as the game goes along, the others will be more comfortable because it's going to be a hostile environment. Toronto's going to have their runs, but if Embiid comes out and plays like he played in Game 6, and Ben also gets in double figures and get rid of those triple singles, they have a chance.
Can Philadelphia win this game on the road?
Oh yeah, they can win the game because it's going to be interesting.
But will they win the game?
Obviously, I don't know the answer to that. If you're going to make me hold my feet to the fire, I'm taking the Raptors. But to me, it's going to come down to role players for the Raptors. Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, because I don't think Brett Brown's going to let Kawhi get 35 to 40 points. I wouldn't if I was a coach. I'm going to make those other guys beat me. Kawhi's not going to get 40 and beat us.
So you're going to double team him?
Yes, I am. I'm going to make those other guys make plays. As for the Philadelphia side, to me, it's going to come down to Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. That's what they were bought in for. Philadelphia got this far last year with Embiid and Simmons. They bought in Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris for this Game 7. And on the flip side, this is what Toronto bought Kawhi Leonard in. This is what you bring a superstar in for a Game 7.
And there's a big picture scenario on this too for Kawhi Leonard and for the Raptors.
Listen, I hope Toronto's my favorite city. I hope he stays there. But I think this is more because if Kawhi Leonard leaves there, I think it'll be the end of basketball in Toronto personally.
Well, I would add this. LeBron James has left the Eastern Conference. The Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis has said, we're taking over it. We're going to take it over. These are the other two teams who were primed to take it over, along with Boston. Boston has fell off, and these are the teams. So now you have to say, if you can't get there without LeBron being there, you'll never get there.
Game 7, Sixers and Raptors coming up at the top of the hour. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Santino.
Thank you, Santino.
For cleaning up that one. And
remember
of course,
that.
Who can forget that with Jesse Ventura?
Yeah.
On Listen Up.
Oh, yeah. Another show you and Kenny ruined.
The one season of
Give me that.
Listen Up. Who can forget it?
Where was that, Ernie?
CJ McCollum, what a